Alright, so I'm Ryan, otherwise known as the Man Is Music, and today I'm going to do my 1,000 subscriber special. I think I've been at 990 something for a couple weeks now, and I just hit 1,000 a few hours ago. So I just wanted to do my top 10 favorite John Coltrane releases for this video. I mean, you could kind of figure that that was what was going to happen if you see my last upload. I did my complete John Coltrane discography. I compiled everything, 78s, 45s, bootlegs, I mean, absolutely everything. I made a spreadsheet. I still have stuff in the works that I want to add to what I got going on for that. Like, I had the update page, but I haven't really had much time to balance, just checking over things, making corrections yet, because I'm also doing school and work at the same time. So I just figured I'd make this short video. I imagine it'll be like 20 minutes or something like that. But for this video, I'm also going to do a giveaway. This CD on Moon Records, John Coltrane, 1963, November 4th. This Stuttgart concert in Germany. So one of my favorite concerts recorded live overseas. I have the other CD that contains the entire concert because this one only contains half, but the full live concert is so hard to get on the CDs. I mean, it's also expensive too. So I just figured I wanted to do this one as the giveaway because, at least it contains my favorite live tracks from that concert. You got Afro Blue, I Want to Talk About You, The Promise, and then it also has some extra tracks from the Kublain tour in 1965. So that's the giveaway, and you don't have to subscribe or anything, or leave a like on the video, because I mean I won't be able to tell. So if you just want to leave a comment and tell me your favorite John Coltrane release, or maybe your favorite live date, anything, just maybe what you like about Coltrane. I mean, I personally would love to hear it, and I think other people would appreciate that too, just to listen to some more Coltrane. And I think that's the point of this video too, is to kind of bring attention to at least some of my favorite Coltrane releases, because I've listened to everything. And I just think that the 10 that I got here kind of showcase, Coltrane at his best, Coltrane, at different stages in his career. So you can just leave a comment. And I also, I want to make note that, I've never asked anybody to subscribe to my channel to reach 1,000 subscribers. That was another goal that I set for myself. I had tons of people telling me, my friends and family, just saying, tell people to subscribe. But I never felt like I wanted to do that. I wanted to reach this mark, naturally, and just see how things kind of revolved. People would come back around to my content if they were really interested in it. And also, I mean, the jazz vinyl community on YouTube is rather small, so you'll probably find another one of my videos, in the next couple months. So I just want to say that, if you don't have to subscribe. If you want to, you can just leave the comment for the giveaway, because, that's all I can see too as well. So the subscribing doesn't really matter. So anyway, I'm going to get into my first release, Evenings at the Village Vanguard. This one came out earlier this year, and not that I love, the vinyl record, right? Because the pressing was horrible, but just the album itself, I also have the CD, but like the material here was crazy. I mean, you could never hear When the Lights Are Low. It was on a bootleg once before, but the quality was horrible. But hearing When the Lights Are Low on here and Africa Live, I mean, Africa Live was definitely in the top 5 live songs that I've heard from Coltrane. When I heard it, because I was at the airport when I was listening to this the day that it dropped, and I was so like enthralled. Like, I just had to sit back and close my eyes trying to take it all in, because it's like, for one thing, it's like, do you really expect this to come out now? I mean, this material is crazy. You never would have expected to see Africa Live, When the Lights Are Low. I mean, Impressions on here is crazy as well. I mean, I just love this record. Not the record, but the music. because like I said, this is a horrible pressing. I highly recommend, if you're going to get this material, just pick it up on the CD, because, I mean, the orange pressing was horrible, and the black vinyl pressing was horrible too. It was what I also heard. So then the next one I got, Coltrane 7105. And I also want to say that I can't really put this in order. I have one record that I'll show at the end, closer to the end, and I'll just say that that's my number one, because it's so hard to kind of put these in order numerically of, my favorites. It's ridiculously hard. But Coltrane 7105, I think this was one of the albums that really drew me in the beginning. I mean, probably for everybody too as well, just with the cover. I mean, you also have the fact that, well, this is John Coltrane's first album as a leader, or, he had other albums that he was like the partial leader, but this is his first true album as a leader, comprised of 2 sessions. You have different players such as Mal Waldron. I'm trying to think of how to pronounce Shahib Shabib. You got Red Garland, Al Heath, a bunch of the classic players that Coltrane was hanging around with back in the day, during his time at Prestige. So, one of my favorite releases. This is an original. It's pretty beat though. I once went to Texas to see my cousin because she had moved out there, and I went to an antique store, and I actually ended up finding another original, but I don't think it was an original. I'm not too positive. I was literally shaking in my boots when I picked it up. I had boots on, but it was in a back room, and they had records, and I was going through them, and it wasn't really an antique store. It was more like a Western wear store, and they had a few like antique-y things and art and stuff like that, and they just had a small section for vinyl, and this was back there. It was relatively clean. It had the top seam apart, but the disc looked perfect, and I think it was a Bergenfield side 2 and then the New York City side 1, and I just was going crazy. I mean, I don't think the guy could tell when I took it up there because he didn't have any prices on it, but he started looking it up on eBay, and I was shaking in my boots, hoping that he wouldn't see, how crazy expensive the original is. And then he actually ended up finding some stupid eBay listing with the record going for like $700 in G plus condition, but it was the red variant. So it's like, if that wasn't there, I probably would have got the record. And the seller too that had listed that always overprices things on eBay, like every listing, and I was just so ticked off. Like, I mean, naturally, like, for somebody to overprice records on eBay, but then it actually comes back and bites me, and I had enough, and I just really wanted the original, so I paid pretty cheap for G plus copy, just so I could have the original in my collection, because I have other reissues and stuff. So then the next one, John Coltrane Stellar Regions. In my opinion, the highest point that Coltrane ever got in his career. This is so perfect. I mean, a lot of people would probably wouldn't agree with me when I say this and give me a ton of flack, I'm sure. But I like this better than A Love Supreme. I stand by that. I would play this so much more than A Love Supreme, during the time that I was kind of going into my, 64, 65, 60, 66 phase of Coltrane, like the latter half of his career, when I was just going through all those recordings and playing them back to back. And this was one that impressed me right off the bat. Just so many amazing tracks. And to be released in the 90s too, I think this was 97, this was released on the CD, but like it also came out on vinyl for like a special little thing that Impulse was doing, because these pressings, they didn't have the little black center, they just had the orange center. Like I'll just show, just so people kind of get an idea. So like here's a copy of Live at the Village Vanguard again, and you can see it's got the orange center, but all those Impulse reissues from that time had this, except this one. So you can see how they're kind of similar. So this was probably, I'm not sure how they released them or like reissued them and what order, but I'm assuming that they did all those reissues and then came with this one at the end. You know, it only makes sense, but again, this is one of my favorite Coltrane releases in my collection. It's definitely in the top 5. I'll say that. Really, really happy that I could land the vinyl copy too. I mean, amazing lineup. I mean, this is when McCoy Tyner had left and Alice Coltrane had, you know, taken his place. Rashad Ali, Jimmy Garrison was still there, of course. But at that point in time, you know, Elvin Jones and McCoy Tyner had left. They left around the time that they were a little bit after they recorded Meditations. So the next one, the classic quartet, I Love Supreme. Of course, it's in my top 10. I'm sure it's in everybody's top 10. And I'm not trying to say it's not a good record by putting Stellar Regions in front of it. It's definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one that I would spin way more often than, you know, Africa Brass or, you know, any other Coltrane release. I mean, if it's making the list in my top 10, I'm usually spinning it. But I once went to my local flea market and I went to the bank and I went to the ATM and deposited all my money. And you know how, like, you can't put, this ATM, like, didn't take ones or fives. It only took 10s and 20s and 50s and all that. So I put all my money in and I had $8 left over because I couldn't put it in there. And I went to the flea market because I figured, you know, I'll just pick up a few things to listen to that night. So went there, had the $8, and I seen Sunship in there. It was like a second pressing of Sunship, which I didn't have at the time, and then a copy of Love Supreme, and I also didn't have that. So I went up there to ask her, you know, because I was going there all the time. I was, you know, sorting records, cleaning things for the really, really nice lady that worked there. And there's probably a guy in his 40s there that see me with these two, and I was talking to her and I was saying, you know, like, is it possible I could come back and pay you? Because I mean, of course she was gonna let me do that. I think she was saying that I could, you know, but the guy, he gave me a couple extra bucks so that I could land both of these, at least, you know, respectfully, by you know, paying the full price, $5 for each. Although, you know, he had to lend me a hand, which I kind of felt bad, but he just told me to pay it forward, so that's what I ended up doing. And I'm kind of doing that in the video too with this giveaway, so I think that's kind of a cool idea and spin on getting this record. So this is a mono club copy, relatively clean, VG to VG plus. I'll always aim for a promo or a mono original, but for now the mono club copy will do. So then the next one, one that I got last year from Strictly Headies, my favorite, like, should I say, because Soul Train is also up there, but I didn't have it in the video because I have something else that'll kind of take its place. But I'll say this is my favorite like, 60 Coltrane appearance. Jazz Way Out with Wilbur Harden, Curtis Fuller, all those guys, Tommy Flanagan, Allie Jackson, Art Taylor, just phenomenal. I mean, the tracks here just kind of blow you away for the time period that they recorded, 1958, and I mean, especially with the other Savoy releases like Tanganyika Strut and Mainstream 1958, this one just takes the cake in my opinion. And I get why people favor Tanganyika Strut more, because it's kind of got that feel that most people aim for, but this one is just perfect. All around a 10 out of 10. I mean, I have no complaints with this album. Every note was perfectly placed, not just by Coltrane, but by, like, Curtis Fuller especially, and then Wilbur Harden, of course, too, as well. So Coltrane actually co-led with Wilbur Harden on this release, which most people think it was just Wilbur Harden, but it was not. It was Coltrane too as well, which is why I mentioned that, you know, it's not, 7105 wasn't Coltrane's, you know, first true recording as a leader. it was, you know, his first recording as a leader by himself. Like, he wasn't a co-leader or anything like that. All right, so the next one I got here is Coltrane Live at Stuttgart, 1963. The giveaway CD contains half the concert, like I was mentioning earlier, but this one contains the entire concert, plus a few additional tracks from a different tour in Paris, November 1st, 1963. So I guess it's actually the same tour, but just a different day. But this, it's just phenomenal. I mean, I was talking about it earlier in the video in the beginning. Like, you know, just my favorite live date overseas, November 4th, 1963, Stuttgart, Germany. Like I said, the band was, you know, top tier that night. They had a full night's rest. So that's why I had to include it in this video. And that's also another reason why I'm putting it, you know, as the giveaway CD, because this CD is like ridiculously hard to get. It's also expensive, but this one has, you know, my favorite live tracks overseas. So then the next one is going to be a promo, and it's actually going to be the reason why I didn't include Soul Train in this video. And it's because I want to talk about You as my favorite track off that album. And it's just like, I imagine that back in the day, like if I were to find Coltrane, right, I don't think I would find his albums like around me, because I kind of live in a rural area in the country. You know, the stuff that I usually see when I go and dig around here is stuff on Vocalion and Pickwick or Pinwick, whatever, however you pronounce that label. But really just like the budget stuff that, you know, was being pressed and released back then, like the reissues and stuff like that. So I just never would have imagined that I would have been able to find, like, you know, a copy of Blue Train or Soul Train around back then in my area. So I just imagine that the promos would be the reason that I would find them, or not that I would find them, but that I would get into Coltrane, because it's like, if I can't find them anywhere around here, where am I going to hear Coltrane? And the only other place I would hear them is on the radio. So a promo is what they would play on the radio, of course. So that's how I would probably end up hearing Coltrane and, you know, just getting into it. So that was why I've kind of been a big promo guy for Coltrane. And I also have another huge promo grail in here. But this one was pretty high up for me too, but you'll see why I hold the other one pretty higher. So the next 45 I got is, it contains my favorite Coltrane solo of all time. No Wrong Note, of course. This one is from 1952 or 53. I should know the date, but I've kind of been out of the... I kind of haven't really looked at my spreadsheet in a little bit. It's been about a month since I have, because I've just been taking a break since I released that video. But this is the Gay Cross and his Good Humor 6 release, Tired of Being Shoved Around and No Better For You. My favorite solo, though, is on No Better For You. And this is the only one that has had, like, a digital release on Spotify and, like, you know, the online platforms. I'm sure it's on YouTube, of course, as many other 45-ish material is. But this one is so good. I mean, I can't imagine a better solo. I can't imagine a better, you know, early group that Coltrane was a part of. I mean, you had the Coatesville Harris Orchestra, you had Billy Valentine, and, you know, some more groups. But the Gay Cross group that he had was perfect. It was an immaculate group. They had so many good, just like well-rounded blues songs. Like back then, you had the one with Christine Kettrell, and then there were a few early ones that had like Bittersweet, and how am I forgetting the other track? I think it had another version of No Better For You, but this was just, when I heard this, I had to go for other copies, because I play this so much. I mean, I didn't get this copy first. I got like a G plus copy, and then I got a 78 for it, because they had 78s and 45s for the Republic releases. And then I ended up getting a really clean near mint copy off of Discogs. And a lot of people don't know about these, which is kind of surprising. But the past couple years, I've been the only one to grab the Republic stuff. And I just think, like, that kind of just shows you that there's not, a lot on it. And if you didn't have the Coltrane reference guide, it's kind of like, where would you hear this stuff at? It's like, it'd probably be like only word of mouth. Because, the people that I talk about this stuff to, they're also usually surprised when I mention this recording or other recordings from back then. So, if you know me, you know this next one here, you know my favorite live date. And it's Coltrane Live at Birdland. This is a promo copy that I got recently. This album is perfect in every way. This is my favorite album of all time, like genre-wide. My favorite track of all time is I Want to Talk About You. But, of course, there's tons of other good tracks from this date. Alabama isn't from this date, but the other ones are like Afro Blue, The Promise, and then the CD release too as well, which I kind of want to count this as, a separate release. It is a bootleg, but I kind of put them together because it's the same date. So this one also has Training In and Mr. PC and then Lonnie's Lamette. But classic quartet, just a perfect date. I would not change anything. I wouldn't change the lineup. I wouldn't change, the tracks, especially like I Want to Talk About You. I can't imagine a better, live recording. I did have, I mentioned that the Stugart November 4th, 1963 date was, my favorite recording overseas. But in the United States, I Want to Talk About You was perfect. The cadenza was perfect. Everything about it. I can't even put into words how much I love this record, how much it means to me. I have my first copy that I got on the wall in a frame just because it meant so much to me. I landed that copy. It was like a 74 pressing, the green label. I got that in 2019 from the flea market that I usually go to, and she gave it to me for free, and I was just I just can't even, like I said before, I just can't put into words how much it meant to me. When I first dropped the needle on it, and I actually played side 2 to begin with, which is kind of ironic because I Want to Talk About You is the last song on that side, and it would end up being my favorite song of all time. And it's just like I got chills. It was something that I played tons and tons of times, like when I was feeling down or low. I even played it like, because when I was going through COVID and all that, of course, I was in college and high school, and I would have to take tests online. And, when it was really coming down to that last grade and I was kind of stressed out, I would just drop the needle on Live at Birdland and just have it playing in the background while I was doing my test. And, it worked for me. I passed my exams and all that. I, just can't imagine anything will take its place, being number one for everything in my collection, everything that I've, all recordings, like even things that I don't own, this album takes that place. And like I said, I kind of put the CD along with it. Most people don't know about this, but you can get the rest of the concert on this CD. Coltrane, Lost Train Birdland. Yeah, Lost Train Birdland. It's got the wrong date on it. Probably just to kind of hide the fact that, it's out or that it's a bootleg. But you can see, I'll open it up so you can kind of see what the CD looks like. It is one of those CDR releases, probably from Japan or something. I can't even imagine how, whoever got the tape, I don't know how they did, I know that they had the auctions and stuff that where they had to pull the material, but I highly doubt that the tapes were in there when they did that. I'm assuming that it just kind of got out of the, maybe somebody had like contact with where they were holding it and met somebody. I'm not too sure, but I'm thankful at least that somebody did something and they released the rest of it, because without this I would kind of just be still searching and scrounging for different releases, trying to figure out where this was, because I've spent so much money on trying to find like new bootlegs that haven't been covered since the Coltrane reference guide, because the last time they updated their website was like 2016. So you can imagine how many bootlegs have been released since that time. So it's like I just buy different bootlegs and like different releases, hoping that there's new material on them. But I ended up finding that on a really like sketchy website. I can't remember the name of it. If I did, I would mention it. Maybe I'll have to look and see if I can find it. And if I can, I'll put it in the description of the video. But that's my top 10. Of course, like I said, I couldn't put them in order, but Coltrane Live at Birdland takes number one. Always will. Like I said, I can't imagine it ever, being replaced by anything else. Unless there's like some mysterious godly Coltrane release that comes out during the centennial Coltrane 100. Like, I just hope they have something up their sleeve. I'm hoping that there's like, because you also have those Lost Impulse sessions, and you have songs like, I think it was like Darkness and like lead us on, from dates that were since unreleased and unissued and stuff. So I'm just hoping and praying that there's something that they got up their sleeve, because while I have all of this material right to listen to, I will always want more. I don't think it's ever gonna end. I think I'll be like 80 years old just being like, where's the next Coltrane release? Like, I just need more. It's like, druggy or something, just trying to get the next Coltrane release. I'll never stop. And I just can't imagine that, where I would be in life without, finding Live at Birdland, without getting into Coltrane. It's really been an addiction. I can't even imagine how much money I've spent. And, it's been a centerpiece, a focus of my life the past couple years to do the Coltrane discography. And it's been just my number one hobby. So that's why I did it for this video. So just want to thank everybody for watching, for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm not a numbers guy, but I think it just shows me how much of a, maybe just, a little impact that I've made. I've read the comments that I've seen, and, recommending people to different albums and songs, and maybe people coming back and saying that I showed them their favorite album or favorite release. And that's just something that I'll never get over. I seen somebody the other day on Instagram post like a inspired spin based off of my video, or I think it was me and Donovan's videos and stuff, and I was just like, man, that's just awesome. Like, I'll never be able to get over stuff like that, and it's just an amazing feeling. So again, I just want to thank everybody for watching and supporting me throughout the past like 2 years that I've been doing this now. So thank you.